Oh, I didn't see it there. It's me, Thomas Edward, also known as T. And then today's video, it's me and T's mum looking for T's mum's scrapbooks. I hope you enjoy.
Christmas Eve, we arrived at Ashley Cottage in Ravenglass, Cumbria. Nice cottage with the sea at its back. 300 years old, a fisherman's home, or so the blurb says. Matthew and Andrew arrived about midnight. They are in the tiny bedroom on the second floor up a very steep flight of stairs. Didn't get dressed all day on Christmas Day. Andrew bought me some red check pyjamas and Paul a pair of slippers. Had a lovely apron off Thomas, amongst others. And Caroline sent me a box of goodies. We all had a lazy day. And then gammon for tea.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah, the ratty shop. We once lived there, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
You can't see our house. I think that's the roof of the house we used to live in.
No, it's behind there, isn't it? There's the Penningtons, isn't it? That's Brian's.
Behind there, yeah.
It's that chimney there.
Yeah, that was Benton's, I think.
That big one there is the one with the dad's fences up front. That is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, look how big it is.
It's quite big there, doesn't it?
We stayed at Christmas,
where the ladder
right down the end.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, where the ladder is down there.
Yeah, lovely place full of memories.
Yeah.
Where T started school from.
It was, yeah.
I watch on YouTube the last Homely host, Kate Jackson, and she made journals. She made scrapbook journals of where she'd been.
I'd just like to say right away that this is how I make journals. There are hundreds of different ways of making journals out there. These are just tips from me. You just do whatever you like. But I'm going to launch straight in now.
What I do when I'm making a journal like this is I make a test page. Now, if you decide at this point, do you want your book to be square? In which case you could make the cover to fit a square journal. But mostly, because A4 is such a common size, I put a lot of pages in this book. So we need the spine then to be thick enough to take all those pages.
My pictures, my own pictures from that, which I might use. What else have I got over here? So in this pile, I've got some pages that are torn out of an art book that I got from a charity shop. More papers, decorative papers there we might use. Here is a lovely old map that's been cut up. This is a book that I bought some years ago.
And so this is my first one. I had a go. It's not as good as Kate Jackson's, but it's getting there. And I started it in September. But it's full of... It started with actually when the Queen died. We were in Derbyshire. And it's all about the different places we've been, the bits of things you can pick up, postcards, a bit of writing about, diary-wise, which is so interesting. It's more interesting than just doing an ordinary diary. And so on, and so on. And it did finish at Christmas, where then I started to do, you see there's a leaf, even leaves. Well, it ended at Christmas. We went to Lancaster, where the ice rink was, and then we went to Ravenglass, and I never know what to do with the Christmas cards I like. So this was quite a big one, which I had a bit of a struggle with, but I did it. Sewed it all in, which I found the most difficult bit. So it's full of all sorts of this, about bits of Christmas sayings, and I haven't stuck those in actually. But eventually it tells the tale of a Christmas day in the cottage at Ravenglass, all the places we went, Basswater, Bridge Inn, we had a meal there, a friend's Christmas card and letter there I thought was nice to put in there, Basswater where we went. And then I found these. That reminds me of Thomas when he was little with his dad in Ambleside. And there again, Ambleside. It reminds me of Ambleside for some reason. I can't remember where I got those from. But I've stuck all the cards in from different members of the family. I think it's nice to keep them instead of just in a box. And I need to write under Pooh.
That one's from Johnny, a Patreon, that one is.
Yeah.
I think is that Johnny's?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Johnny
the
and Tracy.
Patreon. Yeah, Johnny and Tracy, who I've met. Very nice.
Yeah. They
There's
came and
nice
sat on
old-
the railway seat.
That's it. That's from Jenny, Paul's friend, Air Ambulance. That was a nice one. And this one's from another, is he a patron?
Oh, Chris
or
Burry, yeah, he's a patron.
Right, and he sent that, which is really nice as well. My brother from Southport, and that's an older one going back. It's the Castle Inn where I used to go as a teenager, and that's from my brother and sister-in-law from my first marriage. A lovely that is, castle.
Yeah, it's in the
Lovely
snow.
memories. And so, you know, I've got to finish that. I've got to write a little bit about them underneath. I'm very pleased with that because I just find it satisfying that the cards have gone in there and then
Yeah.
you've got to look at it in time to come. And this is a bit tatty, actually. It's one of my tattiest ones, but it's this. I need to stick that down again. And it's been a bit carried around in the Lake District, so it's got a bit battered.
Oh, yeah,
But I've started doing this one. Stayed at Ambleside. We had 10 days at the youth hostel. It was really, really nice. They all wrote a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Teas.
I like the TV room in my bedroom with bed was super for charging tech and writing my Lovejoy book.
Yeah.
Also great view.
That one's Patreon cameraman. No one's seen that cameraman. That one's Tilly up north. That
Yeah.
one is. That's the oldest son.
Did
of
most
Mum's.
of the cooking.
Yeah.
My overall view of Ambleside Hostel, very wet Lakeland weather with howling wind battering the window. Windermere very full with flotsam and jetsam washing up the jetty. Mist on the Langdales and over Ray Castle. The odd ferry every so often plying the rough water. Hostel very friendly overall and the bar area was good. Self-cook is a bit better than when I've stayed before with more stoves and seating areas. Enjoyed being with all three sons for a change. Back to home on
Yeah.
Monday. So we stayed at Keswick, and yeah, we went to Grasmere, didn't we? One day,
We
a
did,
rainbow over the hill. A bit of
What's that?
artistic license. It's a woven book, but we saw a rainbow outside the door.
Yeah.
I just thought I liked the idea of that. Went on Grasmere on the bus, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, that was the last day.
Yeah.
Of the holiday.
And then one of the big boats, the Swift, was on
Yeah. It was good, that was.
on Windermere as well.
A
And
stamp
that's
book.
had to be stamped. They've started old stamp books again. I've got loads of these from when I was a teenager, but they've started doing them again. Yeah. So onward. I think I shall fill this up before the end of 2003, and it needs a bit of TLC.
Yeah.
But that's been around the youth hostels quite a lot. It's got a bit better, but that's what's quite
Where you
nice
going?
about it.
We're going away doing Fred Dibney next week.
So maybe
So it'll be filled up again.
I'm making this at the moment. I'm no expert on this, and you have to bear with me because I've only ever made 3. But I did this the other night when it was snowing and I didn't have anything to do. Or I did, but
Yeah.
I got a bit bored. So that's all right. But what'll happen with that? It's a bit rough at the moment. But I'll cut it down, and it'll be two pink bits inside, and then you sew what they call signatures inside, which I'll show you. Just a signature. I never knew about signatures till I started doing these. And a signature is what you put in your book. 1, 2. I've got 3 there, and you sort of. I can't explain it really. They're just called signatures, but you sew them in. I'm dropping everything out of this one. Hang on a minute. Where's the middle bit? Maybe not that. There. You sew them in and through the spine at the back, and you do the midriff. So there's 3 lots of that.
Everything's falling out.
But I'm learning all the time, and I'm fascinated by making these books because I've always been a writer and a diarist, but I'm bored with just writing and writing. I like the illustration as well.
That's the spine on the back.
That's the spine where it's
It's
sewn
sewn.
through. But I'm hoping to get a lot better at it. But fascinating hobby.
That comes from
School, I think.
No, dyslexic. We had loads of things.
Yeah, when you were at Coniston.
No, pre that.
All right.
St Biggers and Esther.
And you didn't get much help for dyslexia.
No, but we went to a dyslexic class and they give us these. I think that's where that's from.
Right.
So yeah, go on.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Just reminded me.
So this is work in progress. So, and it's made out of a piece which was bigger than this. I've cut it down, and I'll cut this one down to the size of this. Cut it off there. But it's out of the paper bin, which we visit quite a lot
We do,
in
yeah.
our family.
Yeah.
And
You never know what you'll find in the bin.
TE got me this the other
I
night,
did.
so I've got that one out of
Oh,
it.
the car park was frozen over. I went to get some boxes and I
Yeah.
found this.
Yeah, part of a bigger box, wasn't it?
was,
It
yeah.
was another one.
Yeah.
But this, I don't know what I shall put in this, because you can put all sorts of things in. You don't have to just
Be
have it
decent.
as a diary. You can, I like crafts, so I could,
Yeah.
things I find in magazines, I can stick them in and write about them,
Yeah.
or photographs, or whatever I want. It can be any subject.
It's good, isn't it?
And that's
Scrapbook.
what's also fascinating. I hope if I live to 96, which maybe, be quite as long as I've got all my faculties.
Yeah.
They'll look at all these hundreds of scrapbooks and go,
Oh, yeah.
oh no,
Matthew, Tilly up north will do
but the
that.
life will be in there,
Yeah.
so they can't throw them away, they'll have to
No.
read them. So there's my scrapbooking books. I hope you enjoy my little talk on where Tilly up north was working at Ravenstore Youth Hostel. We're staying at Ravenstore Youth Hostel for a few days. Matthew is working here till the end of October, November. He is staying in what used to be the family annex, where he stayed when he was about 8 months old or thereabouts.
There's actually a video I did with a picture of Mum and Tilly up north as a baby.
We visited the Pete Volumes bookstore on Sunday. Lovely second-hand bookshop in Tideswell. Weather was typical autumn sunshine. Lovely day with Matthew and Andrew. Visited St John's Cathedral of the Peak and bought some cards. Bought this card in St John's for £1. Yeah, signed the book of condolence for the Queen. Lovely lady, the country monsieur, Very peaceful. I chose this card because it reminds me somehow. I don't know what it reminds me of somehow. But anyway, it reminds me of me probably reading a book and drinking tea. I read Mary Cassatt, who's the painter for art history at the Poly in Manchester years ago. Andrew's 44th birthday while we were there, we went to Buxton, and in the evening we had a meal in the Red Lion at Lytton, which was very nice. Tuesday we went to Leek in Staffordshire, 16 miles from Buxton, and then we visited the Fox and Crow Gallery for a snack with Andrew. And then we went to the Nicholson Museum Art Gallery. Talked to a helpful girl behind the counter about James Brindley and also the Wardle family. There isn't much on James Brindley in this museum. Looked at Brenda King's book on the walls of Leek, someone I've spoken to in the past and known. James Brindley, they don't make a big thing about him, but he's in our family tree. He's my 5th great uncle. But he's not made very much of, I don't think, in Leek. And that's it, it goes on. We went to Matlock, didn't we?
I like that. It's Leek, isn't it? That
That's Matlock.
is it?
Yeah,
Oh, it's a roundabout. It looks
yeah.
like Leek where the roundabout used to be. It isn't.
Yeah, Alison Utley was one of my mum's favourite authors in this card. She lived at Castletop Farm at Cromford, so she was a childhood home of author Alison Utley. Yeah. So on and on. Scathing Books, that's a really nice old-fashioned bookshop. Second-hand books, that's a lovely bookshop.
And it's all the way to the top.
Yeah, you have
And
to have a bit of energy.
there's big comfy chairs in each room.
Yeah, and there's a cafe at the top. I think it's vegetarian, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's got the cafe in it. It's got a table with a big bandsaw on it.
Oh,
It's made out of a bandsaw.
Then near Ravenstore is the Cowshed Cafe across the road, and they do really nice breakfast there.
They do camping as well and
Yeah.
caravanning.
Yeah. Oh, this is just going back to pictures I like of. It reminds me of my mum, that. Yeah, in our garden, Michaelmas daisies. On and on we go. Hillsdale Station.
Thomas Edward, also known as Tay. And in today's video, it's me and T's mum looking through T's mum's scrapbooks. I hope you enjoy.
Christmas Eve we arrived at Ashley Cottage in Raven, West Cumbria. Nice cottage with the searches back. 300 years old, a fisherman's home, or so the blurb says. Matthew and Andrew arrived about midnight. They are in the tiny bedroom on the second floor up a very steep flight of stairs. Didn't get dressed all day on Christmas Day. Andrew bought me some red check pyjamas and pearl slippers and a lovely apron off Thomas.